So, I used to do stand-up comedy.
Give it up for Sammy Parrish!
So, a lot of people know that I did stand-up comedy, and I was going to talk about it on this channel, but I didn't really have a method to talk about it, and I did not know what was going to be happening in the future, that I ended up doing stand-up comedy 3 times total. And another thing, I've never seen the clips of myself. They're on my phone. They've just been harboring in there, just like a dirty little secret, and I've just never watched them. I now want to talk about it. So as a little bit of backstory, the first time I ever saw a comedy club was when my friend Scott went to go perform, and he did a fantastic job. And he was saying that I should go at some point, like, I don't know. It wasn't like a hard no, but it didn't appeal to me at the time, and I did not know if that would be something I could do, especially where I'm comedic, but I'm not a comedian. There's a big difference that some people don't understand in terms of a profession or something that you do or who you are. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go towards that profession. And trying to pressure someone into that profession without trying to understand why they don't want to, that is not a negative hard no, it's just that something's going on internally and that's why you can't do it. And that's what really did not make me want to do it. It was no one was really listening to the fact as to why I can't do it, and then to be told, no, you can't, you will. Like, it does, being positive affirmation doesn't really work for me, and I had to want to do it, but someone else telling me I should, it wasn't really a positive affirmation. It was just like pestering, and it really didn't make me want to do it. And then months go by. While I was doing a house sitting job, I was watching my favorite comedians, Gabriel Iglesias, and the thought just kind of came to me. I think I want to do stand-up comedy. And I contacted my friend Scott, and he said, that is fantastic, I can't wait. And I told him what I was going to do, and he loved the idea. And I started working on like a couple of quips to say and to have something that was like a steady rhythm going. And the way I went about it and how I explain it to do a routine is, it's like a high school essay. You have to have a good beginning, like a good hook, and you have to have like a good intro and a good like middle part, and then a good ending. That's the way I explained it, and that's kind of the way I did it. And especially the fact that I have been writing books for a while, it helped a little bit of categorizing it and making sure I wasn't all over the place. And then I started practicing for the next couple of weeks, and I told my friend I need a good maybe 2 to 3 weeks just to rehearse it and get it right and get it good. Concentrate on getting like my speech kind of slowed and to enunciate my words so I could be good. And then the time came. So I have to give a little backstory before I tell you about the first time I did stand-up comedy. The day before, I had an emotional problem. There was a girl that was a very, very, very good friend of mine. She was one of my closest friends. And in time, things were not going so between us. I never know why, I never will know why, because we are no longer friends. But the day before, it really affected me with what had happened between us. And it still followed me to the day I had to perform. And I kept rehearsing, I kept going, and then my friend Scott came to pick me up so I could perform that night. And then I get there, and a former school friend of mine was there. That's like pouring gasoline on fire. We're not even there yet. To what really got me. Then he gets all buddy-buddy with me, and I'm just absolutely livid. It kind of took my confidence down just a notch. I was doing okay, I got myself revved up, and then he shows up, and I was just kind of starting to kind of teeter up. Like if I was in a ladder That would be like if it's just kind of shaking, but I'm still holding on. That's kind of what it felt like. And I just kind of kept my distance from him. I was called for the group meeting about what was going to happen, to do the roll call and, you know, get the rules about what not to do in a comedy club. And one thing about this comedy club is that they take it very seriously. They're one of the longest running ones in Virginia. It's called Kazi's Comedy Club, and that's where I went to go perform. I forgot to mention that part beforehand, but the dramatics got in the way. I had gotten the information and I went to go sit back down, and I had to be the 7th person to go up. I was kind of nervous. I was really nervous because the first time, but I felt okay to go up. And then this happened. A weird way to describe this is that I got a message from one of my former best friends, or reconnected friends, I should say. As weird as it is to explain, it's the only way I really can. And if you remember the part in Finding Nemo when Dory ends up seeing the Sydney sign and she ends up going, "Oh my gosh, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney." And she remembers everything that happened. That was basically what happened with me. Everything that happened the day before was on repeat in that very moment, and I had to go up on stage in like 30 seconds. Worst timing ever. And I heard my name, I had to go up, and I'm like, there's no going back. There's one thing I love to talk about too, is who introduced me, and that's before I will put up the clip. This woman right here, her name is Kimi Leone, and she is one of the most amazing people I've ever had the privilege to meet for that one moment, because I had no idea that she is actually a big deal. I don't mind saying that. She is a big deal. In my area, she is very well known for doing a lot of comedic projects. She's very involved in doing a lot of projects to have stories written. I have such a respect and admiration for her, and I would have to say, like, she is everything that I aspire to be as a writer and as a creator. And I love the fact that even in my little area of York County, that there's someone that's branching out to make these projects happen. It's amazing. And then I shook her hand and I had to begin my comedic bit, and so now we both are going to be watching my first time doing stand-up comedy. I've never ever seen the clip, and I'm kind of scared. I don't even know where the hell it is. It's really well back there. I'm so scared. Like, there's a reason I never watched it. I found it. Oh god.
Open mic. Give it up for Sammy Paris.
Oh, that's me. Oh, that's Scott. Hey, look, me. I couldn't get the microphone again.
Hope you guys are ready for the most awkward moments of your life, because I'm the opposite of SpongeBob. I am not ready.
I talked so fast.
If there's one thing that I've learned coming here is that I've noticed my laughter, and it's a good and bad thing because I notice comedians looking at me. And to compare this, it sounds like Woody Woodpecker getting murdered by the Joker, but he kind of likes it. So in a way, I'm applauding you, but be very afraid, because keep in mind of the other half of that comparison. There's a buddy of mine, y'all know him as Scott Ellis, but I call him the Waffle Toast, don't judge him.
Waffle Toast.
And we got to go on our adventures. And this one adventure that we went on to second in Charles is we met this very interesting dude. And we made friends because we're nerds, we got limited pickings. And the one thing that I tried with my limited people skills was to try and get his attention. I thought maybe a 2-for-1 deal. He'll want to be friends with both of us. And that deal didn't
Oh my god!
work out very well for one of us. I think you can take a guess who didn't work out for. And so they're all having their nerd chats and everything, and I am like the sad version of you got a friend in me, because my eternal curse is that I find friends for my other friends. I'll just live with it. It's okay. And so they start chit-chatting. And so, as Scott and the dude are conversing, and he turns to me, and he's like, "Hey, you alright? Yeah?" And then he turns back and the dude was gone. He Amelia Earharted himself somehow. We looked everywhere for him with our motivation.
I did what? I did not catch that part. Oh my god. What did I say? Amelia Earharted himself.
We looked everywhere for him with our motivation. Very limited motivation, I might add. We used our CSI skills. You're like, well, what was it about him? Well, we knew he had a girlfriend, so that shows you our CSI skills. And we had 3 scenarios that day. 1, he's a vampire, we had to go feed. 2, he had like Usain Bolt-like energy and just bolted out that door.
I remember that.
Or 3, did we make him up? Because otherwise, how did someone just poof out of midair? And so,
Oh no, I hate the spit.
I also thought about, what if we did like a 911 phone call to try and find him? Because this was a potential friend. This was a loss for us. I have an imagination of how they'll go on. Like, 911, can you help us? We lost a potential friend. Okay, honey, just calm down, all right? Sarah Jesse, we're at Second Charles, we're turning around. Honey, isn't it obvious why he left? Story of my life. And that is really all I got. Thank you so much for making me feel like
I curtsied, I'm stupid. Where's Kimi? There she is. Shook her hand and I got off the stage and I died. I literally went to the chair and I died. And, okay, that wasn't too bad. I kind of forgot some of those bits and I remember, like, being up on stage because you kind of had like an out-of-body experience, and so I was just looking at the lights and I saw some different people and I was concentrating on my friends, and then I was just trying to get up off the stage because, like I said, my confidence was gone and shattered. But I was kind of surprised that I had those like quick quips to include from my original written script that I had done for the routine. So that actually kind of shocked me. And when I went to go sit down, it still hit me about what happened, and I had a few tears that went down my face, and thank God no one saw me. Everyone was too busy laughing at the other people, and I'm like, cool, they're distracted, they can't see me. One thing I will say about the people that were laughing, those were other comedians. This place, the majority of your audience are other comedians that are going to be going up on stage. So they have this respectful presence that they will listen to you and they will offer you good advice. And that made it worth it for me at that time. No one boos at all. They have this look on their face like, keep going, you're doing good. When I went to go outside just to kind of clear my head and just get a fresh breath of fresh air, there were a couple people that did come up to me and said, you did a good job, and that meant a lot to me. And there was one funny bit that I will always remember is there was one dude that was kind of making fun of the fact that I sat down, hands in my pockets, and then this other dude came up, or I remember, and he said, hey, she was looking at the crowd, I just look at my shoes. And I was like, I was looking at the light because I thought my life was over, so we'll call it that. That did slowly make the night a bit better than what had happened seconds before I went up. And when the whole night finished up, I was going to be heading back with my friend to go home, to go get Taco Bell and then go home. Same dude from before, my school friend, came up to me and put his arm around me and enclosed me and was like, gotta talk slower next time. And I was so pissed. I looked up at him and I kept like nudging my shoulder like, you need to let go. Like, you're gonna lose the arm if you don't let me go. And he let go, just had this look on his face like, message was received. Nothing else happened, thank God. And me and my friend Scott got Taco Bell, went home, woke up the next morning, and I bawled my eyes out because of what had happened on Wednesday, how it carried on a Thursday, and I was really reprimanding my performance. I was really, really, really hard on myself more than I should have been. And even as I watched that clip for the first time ever, I still was too hard on myself. That wasn't too bad. I was kind of surprised because of my limited memory and how I was trying to kind of shove the rest of it away because I wasn't proud of it, when realistically I should have been proud of it. But in that mindset, in that time, I was going downhill fast, like faster than Billy Idol on a binge in Bangkok. That's a real thing, look it up. He did some serious banging in Bangkok. It was bad. But then again, it was Billy Idol, so it makes sense. But I'm getting off track. I was trying to make a nice comparison. One of my friends, my friend Darcy, I told her I was having a bad time, and she's like, get your butt over here. And I got my butt over to her house to tell her what had happened. And I got contacted by one of the comedians from Kazi's. And he had told me that night, I think you can be a very good comedian. We just gotta make sure you talk slower. And at that time, I couldn't really say like what had just happened as to what hindered my performance and what made me lose my confidence. But since we were talking on Facebook, I did have that chance to thoroughly explain what had happened. And he listened to every little bit of what happened, and he offered sympathies and said, I'm so sorry that you went through that. He's been kind of keeping me on track. I have to give him so much credit for keeping me on track, especially with how angry I was in the next couple of months after that. Since that moment in May of 2018 was the moment where, like I said, I went downhill. And he really kind of kept in touch with me to make sure that I was doing okay. And then in turn, I started talking to the other comedians as well. I haven't gotten in contact with Kimi Leone, and was telling her about like the projects as well, and just amazing to kind of have these like contacts and to have a support system. Because like I said, the other comedians, they do not judge you. They will make sure you do a good job because you already get an A for going up on stage. It's amazing. And then at that point I thought, like, I don't think I'm gonna go back and do it. And then I did. And I decided that I was gonna go back the day before my 24th birthday. And I was going with my friend Thomas because when I told him about it, he's like, I really want to go see you perform. And I'm like, okay. But then I kind of had a bit of like a confidence build-up since I was starting to really build myself up again after months of therapy and getting to a good portion of my life again when I was really taking care of myself. I was like, you know what, why not? I'll go one more time. Like I said, I went the day before my 24th birthday, and he came to meet me there, and we got there early so we could get a good seat, and I was talking about what I had planned. I didn't want to give away the whole story, and I asked him to record for me. He was more than happy to do it so I could have another clip to put up. I was going to the bathroom since the third person was up. I'm like, I got time to like spruce myself, pee, do whatever I need to do. But the bathroom in this place is terrifying. There's a mirror that you look at completely while you look at yourself going to the bathroom. And that's all I'm gonna say right now. It will come back later on in this video. But in that moment when I was in the bathroom, I was called to come up on stage, so there must have been a super fast performance with the fourth person, because I was like, oh fuck. That wasn't exactly how I planned to go up on stage, was to come directly out of the bathroom. Like, that's not exactly how I wanted that. I wanted like doves and smoke, not to wonder if I flushed the toilet or if I toilet paper on my feet or if I zipped my fly up. It was awful. Again, my confidence was kind of down. Not emotionally down, but just like the sudden surprise of like, crud, I didn't have like those like couple of minutes to compose myself since I was too busy relieving myself. And so I went to go do that. And then I went up on stage, I grabbed my notebook thinking that I would need it, but then I didn't even look at the damn thing the whole time because, again, the bathroom thing kind of hindered me. But also, when I went up and I was like gonna perform, my friend Thomas forgot to record for me. So I'm like, oh, how am I gonna tell him to record for me while I'm on stage? This is awful. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys what it was since it was not documented. So my opening was this. When people, you know, of course they clap for you before going up on there as usual, common courtesy and all that shit. The opening was, wow, enthusiasm. I haven't had that in like ever. And I said, the reason I'm back, I wanted to do this the day before my birthday, or as I call it, the day God messed up at the office. I thought that bit was great. Fair warning, I sound like Speedy Gonzalez took Scarface's cocaine, so I talk very fast. There's no subtitles, it just looks like a keyboard had a seizure. I don't really quite remember if I put that quip in there, but I'll go ahead and say it anyway. It's gonna be a revamped redux of the original version that never got to be recorded. And my joke was I talked about my bit with online dating. How I went on a really bad date as I was trying to get back into the dating scene. And I said I came home ready to embrace the Bridget Jones's lifestyle. And I looked in the mirror when I took my hair down, and I kid you not, I looked just like the thing that killed Newman in Jurassic Park. It was just terrifying. And then at that point I knew I kind of lost some spark there, and at that point I think I was just yelling at the audience. If I remember before we end up watching the clip together, that I think I had the microphone down, so I think I was just yelling at the audience. But we're gonna watch together for the hell of it. Really not that long. It was only like a minute and something. I gotta find it really quick. I don't know where the hell it is. Oh wait, I found it. Found myself. It's not as bad as the first time, but still I'm very worried. I already look stupid!
Uncanny resemblance. So,
Yep.
if they were to ever do another movie, which should come out soon, because you know Hollywood, they run out of ideas, that series will never go extinct. Like, it's an uncanny resemblance. I'll just go out there, no CGI, nothing, and I'm sorry, I can make myself laugh.
Yep, I'm gone.
Just go Chris Pratt. What did I say? Chris Pratt, and just.
Oh.
And so I have to show my grandfather my new look as I've become a dinosaur now, and it shows you right there in the grandchildren department, like which one they would have hope for. Me looking like a dinosaur, of all things, and
No one's laughing.
so I show him, and then he's like, "No, you don't look a dinosaur." I'm like, "Oh, sure, I have points here."
We're gonna finish watching it, but I was so nervous, and there was like no one there at all. So that was really kind of getting me, like, this is really, really, really bad. And I just, like I said, my entire mindset is thinking the bathroom. Whew.
I mean, I get cranky when I'm hungry. I can't touch my toes. I don't like Newman from Seinfeld. No one really does.
Okay, that was funny.
It's kind of the way it works. And after I just told him all of this stuff, and I started thinking, like, evolution, dinosaurs, and everything I've told you about me. Like, if I were to procreate, like, let's say this date really went well, would you want this to be procreated? Absolutely not. Sammysauruses, we don't have to have that. It's not a good thing at all. So I'm going to save everyone's life and not procreate and embrace the Bridget Jones lifestyle. Anyway, thank you for giving the mild child your time. And up next is Donna Lewis. Where are you at?
And I was gonna say, I'm gonna go have a heart attack when I gave the lady Donna Lewis the mic. That was interesting. Oh man. Okay, but still, that was not good. And I'm not trying to be hard on myself, but literally, I did not like that very much. I felt like that could have been better if I did not go to the bathroom beforehand. But because of this moment, I wanted one more shot to go out with glory. And so I tried for a third time. So my friends, David and Rachel, came to meet me, and this time I actually made sure to, like, not go to the bathroom beforehand, and to actually have my phone set up in their hands so they can record for me. And one thing too is that I forgot to explain. And when I went up for my final time to try, I had a lot of material, so I was kind of mad, like, so I wrote all this material for nothing because my arm looked like Guy Pearce's from Memento. I wrote everything down so I didn't have to carry my book up on stage, even though I had a good perception, but in a way, it did make me feel a bit better knowing that I could get off the stage quicker and it just kind of had that little bit of time right there. So that did make me feel better. The biggest kicker was I happened to look at the list of people performing, and there were 24 people. And can you take a guess who the first one was? And for a moment I was like, I don't know why I thought of this. It's the stupidest thing I've ever thought in my mind was, I sure hope there's someone else named Sammy Parrish. Go. I could be the first one up on stage and to get off the stage, and then I can just sort of spend the rest of the night just kind of relaxed. So that's the only thing I took from knowing that I'll get up on stage and knowing that the material will be fresh in my head. And I think for the hell of it, I brought my book up on stage anyway, and I do feel 100% looking back on this when I did this again, May of last year in 2019, that that was a good way to go out, that I went out feeling very confident. Where the hell am I? Oh, here I am. Okay, alright. Last time I did stand up. Here we go. I'm procrastinating on purpose because it's still fucking with me.
Up on the stage, please welcome Sammy Parrish.
Should not have that hype for me.
Alright, I hope you guys are ready, because I'm the opposite of SpongeBob. I'm not ready.
My favorite
Last
bit.
week, I really wasn't ready, and I thought, okay, I got time. I can go to the bathroom.
Oh shit.
So I go in there.
So one more thing that I forgot to say was, remember what I said earlier about the bathroom bit, that I wasn't going to finish it? Is because I talked about what happened in the bathroom as my joke for the third and final time I did stand-up comedy. I totally forgot my own spoiler. So we're gonna go ahead and watch it. So anyway, as previous me was saying, I was in the bathroom, and that's, so like I said, I wasn't ready. I was in the bathroom, so let me just start it right back.
Last week, I really wasn't ready, and I thought, okay, I got time. I can go to the bathroom. So I go in there, try to spruce myself up so I don't look like a bag of smashed assholes, because that's a look I rock very well. And then afterwards, try to avoid eye contact with the mirror, kind of like a pedophile looking at Chris Hansen, like, okay, just keep forward, just keep going, okay, good. And then I think everyone.
I know I keep pausing it, but that joke was given to me by, again, the same person that has been helping with my comedic routines, Rock Allen, because he always said that I didn't have a middle when I was performing. Like, every part of my little routines were good when I sent it to him beforehand, but I didn't have a middle. And that joke about Chris Hansen was my middle that could help me segue. So he let me have the joke. It's mine now. It has been bequeathed to like a sword, like Beatrix and Kill Bill. Like, that was like my bequeathing of the sword moment. Like, oh my god, I've been given this raunchy joke and I love it.
To avoid eye contact with the mirror, kind of like a pedophile looking at Chris Hansen, like, okay, just keep forward, just keep going, okay, good. And then I think everyone has this moment where we lose the sense of logic, and I forgot how to use the bathroom. My brain was like, hey, we don't know how to bathroom anymore, you're on autopilot from now on. And I'm like, what? So I have to go on. And I'm like, all right, well, how can I do this? So forgot to flush the toilet, washing my hands, flush the toilet, went back to washing my hands, hands are down, and then I made eye contact in the mirror. And it was an awful sight to see. I looked like I was ready for a porno, then I was gonna come up on the stage. That's a terrifying thing to see. Like if there was really a porno going on in there, the guy would have been like, I'm not doing you, that's for sure. You don't know what you're doing. Get out of here.
Okay.
And composed myself, and then I heard my name, Sammy Parrish, please come to the stage. Like, oh, they're at my self-esteem, let's go. I don't need it anymore, whatever. Last week, there was a dude here that did this great joke about Goodwill, and I worked for Goodwill for about 2 years, and this lady called me over saying, Sammy, come here, why don't you come see us really quick? And I have to go to her because, I work there, and the porno thing's not gonna work out, so I gotta keep my clothes on to get the money. It's better for everyone else's sanity and their money. It's a perfect bargain. And she points at something, and I froze.
That bit was on the spot too.
She points at something, and I froze. There is a used condom in the housewares. And I laughed about how accurate it was. Like, well, it's a used condom, used housewares. It's accurate, it's perfect. And I was enjoying this for a little bit until my moment had to end. My boss wasn't nearby, but something worse happened. My mother came to visit me at work and witnessed this unprofessionalism happen. And then she laughed with me for a second, and it was like, clean it up. Just like being at home, I find a way to lose that respect for my mother. Anyway, I got the light. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for having me. I'm Miles Allen. Give it up for who is on my arm. AC Smith.
I forget that was my ending, was I called myself the mild child. I forgot that from the previous video and from this one. I forget I had a tagline, but wow, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was, really. And that moment that we all just watched together, even though I kept interrupting it, I'm so sorry, I really felt like that was a good way to go out. I think of my time doing stand-up comedy as a good way to practice what it's like to go up on stage, since most of you might know, and if not, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I've been writing a book, and I know that in the future when I talk about this book, I'm gonna have to get up on stage and talk about the thing I wrote. So that was practice runs, so I could have a good persona and I could be comfortable with going up on stage. So I look at this section of my life when I did stand-up comedy as something that happened at the weirdest time of my downhill of my life, but it still was something to go, hey, it wasn't too bad, I'm gonna try again. And then I wanted my last shot, just to know that I went out with glory. Even though some bad stuff did happen in between these, some emotional and some just bad bathroom timing, I do look back at it like, that was good. I'm glad I did this. I look back and I'll go, I did that. That was my whole point of doing stand-up, was to look back and go, I did that. It may not have been something huge, but I know that I did that. And even though I sent the clips to my friends, and like I said, I'd never watched it until I watched it with you guys just now, that it wasn't too bad. And I think I can now believe my friends when they said that I did a good job. And I am also glad too that I finally got to share this with all of you wonderful people taking time of your day to watch this extremely long video. I'm so sorry, you guys are troopers. That I could finally talk about that, since I didn't really have a way because of what happened the first time. And I like being able to kind of really tie it in with a personal side as to what happened and to explain what it's like to do stand-up comedy. Especially if you don't really want to pursue it, but you at least want to do it to know what it's like. Thank you all for taking time out of your day to watch that with me. I very much appreciate that. And that way I've spared my friends from having to watch it again or have to witness me cringe with them. So I think it just saved everyone at that point. I also want to give a very special thank you to the person I had mentioned, Rock Allen. Thank you for everything that you have done with my time as a stand-up comedian. That just, it was kind of like the Miyagi to the Daniel LaRusso. Like, that was perfect. You're a great dude. I will not forget that you broke your tooth on a mozzarella stick. So actually, I'm gonna end this video with the same way I ended my last stand-up comedy video. So I'm just gonna go ahead and play that clip out.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for having me. I'm Miles Allen. Give it up for who is on my arm.